the nation's favourite antiques experts, with £200 each.
I like.
A classic car and a goal to scar Britain for antiques. The aim? To make the biggest profit at auction, but it's no mean feat. There'll be worthy winners and valiant losers. So, will it be the high road to glory or a slow road to disaster?
Pull out the ignition!
This is the Antiques Road Trip. Yeah. Today we're in the White Rose County that gave us the Brontes, Geoffrey boycott, and a very tasty pud that goes so well with beef. Hints, anyone?
Sunny Yorkshire. I love Yorkshire. I think it's a good county. Second only to Worcestershire.
And what about Argyll and Bute? All the cool people come from there.
Really?
Well, Rue Irvine does anyway. She's a dealer with a thing for glass.
There is some genuine Georgian glass in here, so I'm excited.
What's more, every time she buys some, it seems to make a profit.
I tell you what, Phil, the gap has seriously narrowed. I have you to thank for that.
Yeah, after the table trauma of the last auction.
Ouch.
Our road trip tenderfoot is catching up on old hand Philip.
That was a bit of a learning curve for me.
Phil is an auctioneer from Worcester, but he's not just potty about pots.
Oh, very lovely.
Crikey, could his reputation for being the road trip grump be wrong?
You're misunderstood, Phil Serrell. I mean, you must have smiled about 732 times since we started this.
Trap wind.
Charming. Rue has so far managed to expand her £200 stake to £308.64p. While Phil, despite that last auction disaster, is still out ahead, having upped his £200 to £376.04. After anchors away back in Herefordshire, where hurricanes hardly happen, at Brimfield, Rue, Phil and their 1976 Triumph Stag have cheerfully charted a course through Middle England before heading up north towards Yorkshire. They'll then motor on down to London and the Thames, before finally traversing the Cotswolds and ending up at Newent in Gloucestershire. Phew! Today, they'll be busily buying for an auction in Greenwich, but our tally-ho point is in Yorkshire at Cawthorne. There used to be collieries around here, now popular with walkers and cyclists.
Hopefully it's big enough for the both of us.
Yes, it's one of those shared shops. Let's respect each other's space, shall we?
I'm going to beat you to the door.
She is too. Probably won't make a great deal of difference, though. Enough to suit all tastes in here.
Do you think they do well in London? Hellfire.
Quite.
World War I German M16 Stahlhelm helmet. Like my German?
Achtung, pet, look out.
Hey, up. That knows.
Joshing aside, who actually wants to win this competition?
I've done well. Beat Phil in the last leg, so we're 1-1, and the gap is slowly getting smaller. But this is now where I need to step up.
I think Phil might be about to do just that.
These are probably made out of pine, pitch pine, cheap timber, and they were just workman's tools. But that's the way this job goes now. People don't want necessarily, as I've discovered, fine Georgian mahogany furniture. They want things like this. They're a bit funky, a bit different.
The ticket price is £48. Might be worth a bit more in Greenwich.
What would you use those for? Well, they make great shelves in a bathroom. Towel rail, all sorts of things. You could even walk up them.
God, makes you wonder, doesn't it? I think Rue might soon be asking questions of dealer Karen.
Vintage jewellery, even retro jewellery now, is becoming so much more fashionable and collectible than true antique jewellery. Thank you, Karen. I'm looking for the Christian Dior sign on each piece of jewellery. The brooch, I'm actually contemplating whether that was separately and has been matched with it.
It's a slightly different design, isn't it?
Yes, it is. And also slightly different material too, and shade of gold.
The ticket price is £30.
Could you put that to the side for me, and I'll...
Yeah,
if you could keep that to the side, away from Phil. Although I don't think it's his style.
Hey, he's got all sorts of styles, believe me. Don't pigeonhole him.
This is another possibility for the London market. This is a set of industrial, they're card index trays, and every factory and warehouse would have had these, and they become redundant thanks to computer systems. But these are now really, really trendy things. These are priced at £79. To you, this probably looks like a bit of old rusting metal.
Well...
Actually, to me, it looks like a bit of old rusting metal. But isn't it a funny world? That mahogany chest of drawers over there is less desirable. Oh, me foot.
He'll live. Now, do we have a deal in development?
Is there anything you can do on the price of that? You've got it at 30.
Because the brooch isn't matching, like you said, and that's going to deflect from it. What about 20?
Could you do it for 18?
I think that's fair.
Yeah, thank you so much, Karen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. One down, and with Phil seemingly on the case, Ruth's already got something else in mind.
Let's try it on for size. But can you imagine just putting this on and going down in the dark, dusty, smelly, wet conditions of a mine? Not seeing daylight? It's a pretty hard life to have. That's priced at £44. She says Leeds here. Premier Lamp, an England company, Leeds. Don't know how that's going to fly in Greenwich, to be honest. It could be a bit of a risk. I spot something over my shoulder. Yes, hello? Can I help you?
Joe, I thought the trick was to find something Londony in South Yorkshire and take it to London, not find a miner's helmet in Yorkshire and take it to London.
But if I buy something Londony and take it to London, there'll be lots of Londony things in London.
Lost me there.
I see right through you. You might have sold me on it.
Annoyingly, I wish I'd seen that.
Well, what about what you did find then? Time for a word with our Karen. Karen?
Your steps in that room, some little A-frame steps,
Yeah.
They got £48 on them.
Right.
I was kind of hoping they might have a 2 in front of them. 25 quid or something like that. What could you do those for?
What about 30?
We're getting there. Let's see if there's something else I can buy off you. Upstairs, you've got like a set of card index trays at £78.
Yeah.
Will there be much movement on those?
He's quite good, that chap. Yeah, I can do a
How
good deal
good?
on them.
Quite good.
If they're on at 78, probably 50. Is that anywhere quite near?
Well, it's getting close, isn't it?
I think he might be working up a catchphrase here.
So if I bought the steps and the card index trays and I gave you 55 quid for the 2, would that work?
Oh, no. Ouch.
I just love the way... Oh, no. I just love the way you said that. What about 60 for the 2, then? That sounded better, isn't it?
What about 65?
Well, I think I would give you 65 for the 2. Is that any good?
Go on, then.
65, thank you so much, thank you. Oh, yeah.
Phil loves it in here.
One for luck.
And Arusha loves glass.
Guess what Ruth found?
Again?
The thing is, it's not just one glass. There's 5 of them. And these are all Georgian, hand-blown, very wonky and lopsided. It's almost like the glass has had too much of what's in the glass. And it can't stand up straight. And it's a lovely sign of age. 5 of them, £7. Can you really say no to that?
Nope.
So I think this could be a good buy. It's a bit of a no-brainer.
Quite. And with Phil safely off the premises, it might well be time for another word with the boss.
This one's nice and easy. You've got 7 on there. Could you do all 5 for a £5?
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah?
No worries.
Brilliant. This is not my usual thing. Could you do anything on that price of £44? To make it tempting for me.
Would 30 be tempting?
25 and I'll take it off your hands. And give you a big kiss.
Steady on.
You're going to do the price up now, aren't you?
28.
Go on then. I'll shake your hand, Karen. Thank you so much.
So, a total of £51 for the jewellery, glasses and the miner's helmet. Quite a pile.
Thanks, Karen. Do I make it look easy?
I can't bear to watch.
See ya.
What about Phil, eh? Out on the open road. Poop, poop. Allegedly making for Wentworth, but he's been distracted. Because Phil does love an old farmyard.
How are you doing?
All right.
Good to see you.
Good to meet you.
Yeah. Now, I'm a bit of a strange one here, because
Yeah?
I always like to go somewhere that's just a bit different, and you strike me as being a bit different. Is it him or a...
She.
That's a she. Can I buy it off you?
Once.
How much?
5.5.
We're talking hundreds of thousands.
No, hundreds.
If I hadn't bought that table, I could have bought this.
I'm not sure Greenwich is ready for livestock.
I'm on a mission to try and buy something off you. Don't mind what it is. Bit of tack. Or, you know those raw-time pig feeders? Anything like that?
No, they're good to sell them.
They are. Anything like that?
Yeah.
I'm sure our Gary will find something to tempt him.
What have we got in here?
Could be almost anything.
This is a possibility.
Well, I'll tell you that.
Can you change a pound?
Ah!
Hey, how much is that?
12 quid.
My dad always said to me, if you want to find a fool in the country, bring him with you.
Yeah.
Did he ever say never buy anything in the dark as well?
Have a look. There's nothing here.
I'm having a good old look here.
Old tables.
Okay,
That's an old one.
let's have a good look at this. This is an old tabletop on 4 new legs.
Well, I can't make it what it is. It's what it is, isn't it?
I got better legs than that, look.
Aye, well.
Look. Whoa. How much is it?
I've just asked Dave here now. I said they don't do tables.
Do you know, I often think I need a translator. You've just done what?
V means V.
Me, that's me.
That's V.
Yeah, V.
And
yeah.
me means me.
Right, okay. I want to tip it up. Go over that way. Yeah, there you are, look. That's an old top on 4 brand new legs.
No good.
Well, things have potential in life. But it's not worth a fat lot.
That's a way, man.
Look.
It's authentic.
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 I will make you one bid for it and that's it. You can have 20 quid.
Oh, man.
Look at
It's
this.
keep us warm for 3 days.
Let's put it back then.
Yeah, no messing about. I used to know. 30 quid for it. I can't. I thought 50. That's where I thought.
I'll give you 25 quid. That's the end of it and shake your hand. No need for that. What did he do that for?
He had his reasons.
Right, 25 quid. There's a 20. There's a 5. You got a plaster for me, haven't you?
No, I've something better than that. A blind man always gets something.
What's that then?
All the luck in the world, mate.
You're a gentleman. Can I just have... That's just cost me £24, hasn't it?
Time to see it in the cold light of day, eh?
Oh, Lord above, Gary. What have you done to me?
That's not new.
I thought you said you'd had this in the farmhouse 40 years.
It was. I fetched it out.
That wasn't made 40 years ago.
It was.
Well, it could easily do better than your antique table, Phil. If it sells, that is. Now, where's our Rue? Well, having just acquired that collier's helmet, she's headed to the heart of Yorkshire coal mining history at South Elmshall to learn about the village's pride in its brass.
Welcome to the home of Carlton Main Prickly Colliery Bank. Would you like to go in and see?
Please.
After you.
Oh, thank you.
With a history that stretches back to the late 19th century, the Frickley Band is one of the most famous of the hundreds that once performed around the region.
Wow, well, you must have every kind of instrument here.
Certainly have, yeah.
Ray Sykes, MBE, was a band member for 66 years and a miner all his working life.
It was full families. Father, son, grandfather, great-grandfather. They all worked at the pit. My dad finished up as colliery manager. He started as a pony driver.
So, with the conditions being so unpleasant,
Yes.
working in the coal mines, being in a brass band must have helped the morale of all the miners.
The conditions at the pit were so bad that the actual atmosphere between man and man, it was fantastic. And the humour was out of this world. Because if you didn't laugh, you'd cry.
Why brass bands in particular?
I think with manual workers, you have calloused hands. You can't not really able to play a piccolo or an oboe or a violin, but all brass instruments are either valve instruments or slide instruments, so a lot easier to play. And of course, the most delicate part of your body is your lips.
There's always been fierce competition between the bands, and the men from Carlton Main Frickley were regularly amongst the prize winners, picking up trophy after trophy.
You try and get better and better and better and better. In 1947, to improve the workers' lot, nationalisation came in, and which meant that every pit had a manager. Now, every manager had his own trophy cabinet, and that's for the band, the football team, the cricket team, and the pit actually looked after all three.
Nowadays, there's a country park where the Frickley pit head once stood, as the village still struggles to cope with the closure of the mine in 1993. Their brass band went into decline for a while too, but they've played on. Good, eh? Great sound from just a small sample of the 30-plus members.
After the 84-85 strike and the closures of the collieries, 80% of the colliery bands folded. We were down to just 6 players. During that strike, nearly all the band were single men, and they didn't get paid a penny for 12 months. And basically other bands were coming around saying, come and join my band, we'll get you a job.
Right.
And you can't blame the lads for leaving. Easiest thing in the world to say, that's it, it's gone. But we carried on.
So you didn't give up?
No,
The band
no,
didn't
and
give
we built it back up. And not just built it up, we're now ranked in the top 10 bands in the world. After the pit closed, the pride in the village and the band seemed to fall away. And just this last few years, we've been playing in the village, and it's been absolutely full to the rafters. That pride's come back again.
Quite a story. Now, the last time we glimpsed our Phil, he was on his way to Wentworth. Well, the good news is he finally made it, albeit a bit late.
Hi, you must be Dave.
I am.
Phil,
Nice
how
to
are
see
you?
you, Phil.
Good to see you.
Nice to meet you.
That's tricks, good.
I'm fine, thank
Making
you.
a quid?
Well, you try.
No ponies or farmyard paraphernalia, but I'm sure Phil will manage.
This is a lovely little Edwardian mahogany pot cupboard. Mahogany, that's satinwood, that's boxwood line inlay, that's ebonised line inlay. And what I like about this is that if you look at the boxwood line inlay down the legs, a lot of these have had their legs cut off or shortened. And this one hasn't, because you can see at the bottom where the line inlay goes across. And how much is that?
170. We can move on that, Phil.
Can we?
Yep.
That's what I like to hear.
Yep.
Should have had a little Gary up the road, you.
Remember, he's bought 3 items today already.
To all intents and purposes, this looks like another pot cupboard, but this is in fact a coal bucket, and a particular type of coal bucket. You put your coal in there. That should have a metal liner in there. Now, if you can imagine upstairs and downstairs, if you were upstairs, you didn't want to be woken with the rattle of coal buckets being filled and have dirt dragged across your parlour. So the servants would have got the metal container that fitted in there, filled it with coal. That way, you weren't woken, and also your lovely furniture wasn't ruined. Now, this particular type of coal bucket is called a Perdonium, after a man called John Purdon. And Purdon was associated with a firm in the 19th century called Bell, Massey & Co. And they were the first people to market the Perdonium. Isn't that a lovely story? I think it's true.
Don't worry, it is.
Dave, there's something I've seen up here. I like that.
Yeah,
So John Paul Jr. is saying, why does Mr. Harcourt hang out that funny sign, Daddy? And John Paul is saying, because, my son, it's 2-1, his pledges will never be redeemed.
You had to be there.
It's a satirical
Yes,
cartoon.
Yes.
Well, I suspect that Mr. Harcourt was perhaps a 19th century politician. It's a pity about this here, isn't it?
Yeah.
Where it's been folded.
Yeah.
Ticket price £48.
Is it something you're desperate to get rid of?
No.
That's what I really want to hear, Dave. I'll tell you what, I'm going to make me my best offer.
Yes, go on then.
And it's 20 quid, really.
You know, Phil, I always thought Dick Turpin had died.
No, my horse is just outside.
I know that. 25 quid. Come on, get your money out.
22 and I'll have a deal with you.
It's painful, this.
Sure,
You
mate.
do know I've got 7 kids to feed,
Yeah,
don't
well,
you?
whose fault's that?
He's been busy.
It's sad, but I still need some money off you.
Okay, just for you and the 7 kids.
Yeah, that's right.
Thanks, Dave. You're good.
You're welcome.
See you soon.
You're welcome, mate.
Thank you. Cheers now.
So, with their swag in the back of Rudolph the Stag,
I think it's a really nice car, actually.
He hasn't given us any trouble, has he?
No.
And to be honest, occasionally that does happen.
Occasionally.
nighty-night. Sounds like Phil may not have enjoyed an untroubled sleep.
I bought some in the dark.
In the dark. Oh dear, Phil, what did you do?
He bought a kitchen table, actually, plus some steps, a satirical print, and metal cabinet.
Oh, my foot.
Leaving over £265 to buy things in daylight with. Whilst Arusha splashed out on some vintage jewellery, a miner's helmet, and surprise, surprise, some Georgian glass.
Can you really say no to that?
But she still has £257.64 should anything else catch her eye. Later, they'll be taking the long road towards an auction in Greenwich, but their first stop today is in Derbyshire, at Bolsover. Overlooked by a very fine castle.
Now, isn't that lovely?
I have a soft spot for castles and stately homes.
I've got a country estate.
You do?
Yeah, Volvo.
He did once. You can just imagine what he crammed into it.
Here we are, look.
Bye, Phil.
Take care, hon. Have a good day.
Bye.
Hi.
Hi, Phil.
You must be Andy.
Yes, I am.
How you doing?
All right, thanks to you.
It's a lovely day in Bolsover, isn't it?
It's beautiful, isn't it?
Generally in the eye of the beholder when Phil's involved.
If you're going to buy Victorian Edwardian pine chest of drawers, always have a good look at the top, because there's a very fair chance that they might have been a cut-down dressing table. And if you look and see a mark like that there, and then another mark over there, that's probably where a set of drawers have been, there, and then we've got a mirror in the middle. Why would you take them off? Well, basically, a chest of drawers is worth more money than a dressing table, but you can't lose those telltale marks.
Thanks for sharing that, Phil. Now, how about Rue and Rudolph? Happy?
I'm loving it. I'm loving it.
On their merry way to the nearby town of Chesterfield, where the local landmark is that marvellous crooked spire. Sends you round the twist.
Hi.
I'm Rue. Lovely to meet you.
I'm Wendy. Nice to meet you.
How are you doing?
I'm fine, thank you. Gorgeous day.
But what will it take to make it truly memorable, Rue?
I want something that's going to be risky, but I want it to be big and make a statement.
Well, that might just do the trick. Not so comfy.
Oh. How cool is this? It's obviously made of really old oil drums, and it's been made into this very retro-looking sofa, and I love it. And you can see here where it's been painted over, but the natural wear from it, it's actually taken off the paint. This would be such a cool thing to buy. But there's one thing that's putting me off. It's this little bit of brown paper, 599 pence, and that's a little bit too rich for me. I was wanting to go big, but that's a bit too big, I think. Shame, I love it, but I'm going to have to walk away from this one. Carefully.
Scratch that then, but don't scratch this.
Does that not give you goosebumps? I love it.
It's 1910. It's an oak case gramophone, and it does include the records.
Nice and loud too.
Wow. That's the belly of the beast.
For a ticket price of £160.
Now, we're actually going down to London. This could be quite a charming piece in someone's big old house.
Definitely.
I do like it. Can you sort of keep this safe for me?
Yes.
Don't let anyone else buy it yet.
Sounds like Rue's smitten. What news from Bolsover?
I think it's time just to see if Andy's on his toes. Andy!
Yes, Phil?
I was only testing.
Oh, right.
But now I've got you here.
Yes.
Can I have a look at that lampshade, please? So that's, what, 1920s, is it?
I would imagine so, yes. Looking at it, yeah.
This is a shade for a pendant light. So basically, these three bits here, they'll hang to a central rose on the ceiling, won't they?
Yeah.
And the light will be in here. And what we want to look for, Andy, is damage. Look at that.
I know. It's a shame.
Oh,
There's a
look at
little
that.
bit there.
Yeah. If you're doing up a 20s house, it'd be really quite cool, wouldn't
Fantastic,
it?
yeah.
Perhaps they'd like a gramophone too.
It's priced at 80.
Is there much movement on price?
Yeah. A little bit.
Little?
Yeah.
Blue on the counter for me.
Okie dokie.
One ceiling light, or plafonnier, reserved, while Phil makes a foray into the militaria department.
Oh, these are really cool. Look. Just imagine that you're fighting in the trenches and we're hiding down here behind our trenches. And these are a set of trench binoculars that you put up like that. And you can see what was happening over yonder.
Good for a shared shop too.
This is really Mr. Labour country, isn't it? He's forgotten more about this stuff than I know.
OK, let's get down to business then.
Andy, do you know how old those are? Are they First World War, Second World War?
I would guess Second World War.
Are we sure, Phil?
Kind of thinking about back to your Art Deco lampshade, but I've really got to hammer you on the price. Is that going to be acceptable?
Well, there's quite a bit of wriggle room.
The ticket says 80, remember?
I think I've got to bid you between 30 and 40 quid for it. If I gave you 40 quid, would that do it?
Yeah.
Can you do that?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a really deal of the century, isn't it?
It is, really.
So, step away from the militaria.
There's £40.
Thank you very much.
You're a star. Thank you very much indeed.
Because Phil's done shopping. But in nearby Chesterfield, Rue's just getting inspired.
I might be a little bit excited here. This is an Edwardian washstand. This is a lovely thing, and it's got a solid marble top to it, and also a plaque within the washstand. Satinwood, beautiful carving here. So this would be early 1900s. The Edwardian era was a funny one. It was a very romantic era after the Victorian period, but it didn't necessarily have its own style. The Edwardian era paid homage to all the styles before. This is something that definitely could do well, and it will show that also I can do little and large. Very large.
As if we ever doubted. The large asking price is £180.
It's always good to check the inside of the drawers to see if there is genuine age within the inside. If you open it and suddenly you're hit with pine, it's like, oh, it's a bit too new. I also like to take a good sniff. Afternoon tea.
I wonder what Wendy makes of it all.
It is beautiful. It is heavy.
What could you do on that?
Ooh, 10% is what the dealers are okay with. Any less, I have to just give them a ring. So, I mean, we could knock £20 off straight away. It's 160.
Let me come back to the gramophone. Would the same rule apply there?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if you could actually grab the dog and bone.
Yeah.
And call the dealer.
Yeah.
And let me know how you get on.
All right, then.
So what's it to be? Washstand or gramophone?
I'm torn. I'm really torn. This washstand is beautiful. It's old-fashioned craftsmanship. The gramophone is vintage charm I'm going to have to see what Wendy says. My decision is in her hands.
Ah, here we go.
So 10% is 160. Is that too high?
It would
50?
be... Is that the absolute best that he can do?
140.
140. And the gramophone?
Again, the 10% off the 160. We could take it on the chin slightly with the gramophone and come down to 135.
So, are we talking 2 here? Remember, she has just over £257 left.
I would need to get both items for £250.
255?
Okay.
Yay!
Thank you.
Yeah.
I think we need to hug this one out.
Oh,
Bravo, that's what I call sporting.
that's lovely.
But while Rue departs with only £2.64p to her name, Phil's headed into the countryside, taking our route back towards Yorkshire and North Anston, to learn about the county's contribution to an iconic building from local author Mike Ogden.
Mike, how are you?
I'm very well, thanks.
Absolute pleasure to see you, but I've got one question. Why have you brought me to what appears to be the edge of a park?
Yes, but up until 100 years or so ago, this was a large working quarry producing magnesian limestone. And it was from this quarry that the stone was taken to build the Houses of Parliament in the 1840s and 50s.
When fire destroyed the medieval Palace of Westminster in 1834, a commission selected Charles Barry's Gothic design from the many proposals, but the next big issue was the choice of stone.
Barry was keen that it should be a warm-coloured stone. He didn't want a white limestone like the Westminster Abbey or St Paul's, and they had a visiting committee that, during the course of 1839, toured 102 quarries, and eventually they chose this quarry here at North Anston.
Why choose here when London's all that way away?
The stone was of the right colour, and it was suitable for carving into quite thick blocks, anything up to 4 feet thick, and Charles Barry needed that size of block. It was relatively easy to work, and the final selling point for North Anston was the fact that it was only 2 miles away from the Chesterfield Canal.
Work began in 1840 and was anticipated to last for 6 years at a cost of £725,000. In fact, it dragged on for nearly 30 years with an eventual bill of getting on for £200 million in today's money. Sound familiar?
Where are we off to now then, Mike?
Well, here's where we can see a piece of the Westminster Parliament here in Yorkshire. This pinnacle was carved in the stone yard at Westminster and not used in the project.
But Yorkshire's contribution to that famous pile was far from straightforward.
There were problems apparent with the stone long before the building was finished, and that was down to London's grossly polluted atmosphere in the mid-19th century, and also to the fact that the pressure on the masons and the builders was acute. It resulted in them having to use the stone that was available on the day and not able to wait for a perfect piece of stone to be available. The result is that quite a lot of the stone was built into the building with the natural vents that occur in limestone, vertical rather than horizontal. And that meant that the acid rain of Victorian London and the damp riverside atmosphere could get into the stone and erode it. And that started to happen very quickly. And there's a long history of faults, including in the 1920s, a large chunk fell off the Victoria Tower. And fortunately, no one was standing underneath.
Whew. The quarries of Clipsham in Rutland provided materials to repair and replace the Yorkshire limestone. But there's an awful lot of it left.
I'm guessing, Mike, that there's still huge chunks of Anston stone still in Parliament.
Oh, yes. No one knows for sure, but they seem agreed that it's at least 50% of the building is still the original Anston stone. So there's no doubt that this is still very much a Yorkshire building.
Oh, hey up. Hey up. Yeah, that always.
Meanwhile, elsewhere in God's own country, Rue's search goes on, tootling the triumph towards the village of Burcoats. Light of step and even lighter of cash.
Hi, Ian. I'm Rue.
Hi, Rue.
Nice to meet you.
Welcome to your antiques.
Thank you. This is a very, very cool place. Chairs hanging from the ceiling, projectors on the floor.
Not to mention the elephant in the room. Well, 2, actually, because Ian really does need to know about the £2.64. Own up, Rue.
Would you like to guess how much I have left?
Go
Pick
on.
a number, any number.
Pick a number, any number between 1 and 10.
Yes. You're allowed to add the pennies in. I'll give you extra points if you get that right.
Feels good to get it out there.
That's quite a nasty sound, isn't it?
Time to find out what can be cut price.
That is impressive, isn't it?
It might be within your price range. There we go.
That is seriously
Welsh
cool.
mine, I believe.
And have you had this in long?
It's been here a while.
25 on that.
It could be within your price range, being as it was tucked out of the way.
Nicely done. Now, don't drop any of that change.
£1, £2, 20, 40, 60, 2,
Dear.
and 4.
Oh, right.
The whole 9 yards.
Wish me luck.
Okay, bye-bye.
That'll go nicely with her miner's helmet. As thoughts turn to that London auction.
I'm intrigued now to know what you bought.
Firewood.
Lordy, time for some shut-eye. Greetings from Greenwich, a World Heritage Site beside the Thames. But in the meantime, get it? Greenwich?
Have you got any worries?
I do. My 2 big bits of furniture.
Really?
Gramophone and the washstand. What about you?
Oh, the stable table's giving me a bit of a heartache, I can tell you.
Oh, no, you'll be fine with that
I
one.
do hope so.
Cheer up. After kicking off in Cawthorne and having a thoroughly Yorkshire time of it, Rue and Phil have motored almost 200 miles south, where there's a full house at the Greenwich Auctions Partnership. Phil shelled out £151 on 5 auction lots.
Is that going to be at the end of today?
Oh, no, this is going to be me.
While Arusha spent every penny of her £308.64, also on 5 lots. Winners and losers, predictions, please.
Secretly, I'm really envious of this because I think it's a really cool thing and I can see her making a profit out of that. That's great, isn't it?
I think Phil's been a little bit too clever when he bought this. How many people are actually going to know what it's referencing? It's so niche in terms of history that it's going to be over a lot of people's heads.
What's the opinion of auctioneer Robert Todd?
The majority of people that I know have all got indoor bathrooms. They do not need a jug and bowl of water and a washstand. The great thing with these is they're fabulous as a drinks table. The industrial filing cabinet, I personally think, is from the War Department and is fireproof. The kitchen table, I've probably got shirts older than that table. Cleaned up, it'll be a very useful piece of kit.
Thanks, Robert. Now, grab that gavel.
Sweaty palm time again.
Why do we keep doing this to ourselves?
It's the money, and you want to step up in life.
There we are, very useful. If you're under 5 foot and you want to get to the tool cabinet, bids with me straight in on this at £30 only on those, and that's cheap. 32, 35, 38, 42, I'm out anywhere. 42 there, take 45. You'll kick yourself. 42 there, looking for 45. We all done.
If he doesn't, I will.
45 standing, 48 seated, £50 and 5. All done at 55. I'll sell these steps for £55.
Well done.
You got that right, Phil.
It is the London effect, isn't it?
Everything is suddenly worth a lot more.
Does that include Rue's vintage jewellery?
With the right kit on, a lady would have to buy this, honestly. Bids with me straight in on this at £20. 22, 5, 8, I'm out if you want it. 28 there, looking for 30 on this, £30 and 2. £30 there, I'm looking for 32, 32 and 5. 35, 38, £40 I want, 38 I've got. We all done. £40 new place, take 2. Last time I'm all right at £40.
Not bad.
That's jolly good.
Both off to a sparkling start.
The trip south has proved worthwhile, hasn't
It has
it?
so far, so far.
Time for Phil's rusty old cabinet. Still works too.
You want them yourself, don't you? You're going to put your spices in there. Your little chilli pepper and your turmeric.
It's got to start with a bid with me of only £20 on that. Scraps it out, I would have thought. Look at the 22, 5, 8, 32, I'm out. 32 there, 35, 38.
Moving fast.
£40 there, 42, 42, 45, 48, 50. £50 there, looking for 55, all done last time at £50.
And looking at it, it's not the most handsome thing, is it? You know, to get 50 quid. It's
Rue, how could you say that?
but that's its charm.
And some profit anyway.
It's a bit rough around the edges.
That's me or it.
No, you're highly polished.
Rue's regular glass lot spot.
Fabulous little lot, and the bids of me straight in at £15 only.
that was
18
50.
I want on the Georgian glass, 18, 22, 5, 8, 32, I'm out. 5 I want anywhere, I've got 35 standing. 38, £40, 42, 45, 48, 50. 48 there, looking for 50. We all done.
Come on.
On the glasses at £48.
Well done, you.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's a great return.
I'd like to say that I'm really, really pleased for you, but I can't lie.
Now, as found in a dingy barn.
Never buy without a light switch present.
Starts with me straight in at £25 on this table.
That's a pound profit.
Fortune.
Still outside in the garden as well. 28, £30 with me. 32, 5, 8, I'm out. 38 in front, looking for 40. Are we all done? £38.
My lovely farmer, thank you. I apologise profusely for ever doubting you.
I hope you're watching, Gary.
Every shop I'm going, do you mind if I turn the lights off?
Ruth's little colliery collection now.
It's the sort of thing that I would have bought.
It is, actually. Maybe you're rubbing off on me.
And the biddies with me straight in at £35 on this. 38, 42, 5, 8, I'm out. £48 I want. Yes, 48, 50, 5 I need. I've got 50 here. I'm looking for 55. 55 on the telephone. £60 in the room, take 65. 65, 70 I need. 70 I've got, and 5. 75 on the phone, £80 in
There's
the
a lot
room.
of miners around here as well, miners.
I've got flutter buys.
At £85.
That's done brilliantly well, isn't it?
I'm really over the moon.
Yes, another major profit. She's digging for victory.
He does smack that blooming gavel down, doesn't he? You could drive 6-inch nails into a railway sleeper with that.
Right. How about Phil's 19th century satire now? Don't all laugh at once.
I like his cartoon.
It's very clever. It's very you.
The bids are me at only £20 on it. 2 I want on this, £20 I've got, 22, 25 I want, 25, 28 there, take 30, £30 the lady, take 32, 32 and 5, 35 and 8, all done, right in front of £35.
Well done.
Yep, still no losses so far today.
Phil, I am actually shaking.
It gets you, doesn't it? It does get you, this.
I am so scared right now.
I can see why. Ruth's Big Gamble, Part 1.
I'm practicing my breathing techniques.
On we go.
The bids are me at £32. Looking for 35 only on this washstand drinks cabinet. I've got 35, 38 with me. Looking for 40. Are we all done? Last time at £38.
Don't say anything.
Well buttoned, Phil. Not a pretty sight, eh?
Do I regret it? I love it. And I would have it in my house in a heartbeat.
Do you know what? I'd have it in mine too.
That's the spirit. Presenting Phil's pink light fitting.
When I was in Yorkshire, I bought a lampshade, but now I'm in London, I was selling up a Fournier.
Oh, well, of course, yeah.
And the bids with me straight in at only £28 on that. 32, 5, 8, 42, 5 I'm out. 48, 50, 5. 55 there, looking for 60. We all done. £60 I want. £55 in front. 60 on the phone. 65 with the lady, look for 70, Lou. £70 I need. £70 I want.
You have such a good eye.
£65.
You got a good couple of eyes.
Mince pies, please.
I bought cheap and I've made little profits. You've taken big risks. Your road trip this leg's much more exciting than mine. Because
I think I'll swap.
Today, Ruth, your gramophone with discs.
A couple of bids on this. Got to start with me at £30 only. Looking for 32. 32, looking for 35. I've got 35, 38, 42, 5 I'm out. Looking for 50. Are we all done? On my left at £45, sir. Lot 141, Contemporaries on Malmo.
it's an ouch.
Actually, gone for a song.
That was nail-biting stuff. My nerves are put to pieces.
I feel for you. Come on.
I think you're buying me a cup of tea.
Plenty of sugar, please. Ruth started out with £308.64p, but after costs, she made a loss of £98.72. So she has just £209.92 to spend next time. While Phil, who began with £376.04 made after costs, a profit of £48.26p. So he has £424.30. Victory today and a healthy lead.
Well, that was a roller coaster.
Well, it was, but I tell you something. Tomorrow's another day.
Well, frankly, my dears, you are right. Next time on the Antiques Road Trip.
If you could go on a road trip anywhere, in any car, with anybody.
Now you're talking Jag E-Type
Yeah.
in Mongolia, and it would either be you or Bruce Springsteen.
So, dancing in the dark or just buying that?
It's a fish face. That means I'm thinking.
Not sure how we explain Phil's physiognomy, though.
I see you as Mr. Happy. Huh?